Society says being a grandparent means sacrificing every last ounce of your energy for your family. It's a lie. You know what is true? Becoming a free, full-time nanny in your golden years will literally break your back. Let me tell you about Robert, 72 years old. Just this Saturday morning, his daughter Sarah pulled into the driveway, two boisterous kids in tow, unannounced, rushing off to a weekend brunch. But Robert just stood firm on the doorstep, shook his head, and said the hardest words of his life. "Sorry, sweetie, my babysitting days are over. I'm putting my foot down." Inside his living room, sitting lonely on the coffee table next to a crumpled children's coloring book, is a half-empty bottle of generic ibuprofen. A silent witness to dozens of exhausting weekends. It's a tough pill to swallow, finally saying no. You close the door, and the silence hits you. It's not a peaceful silence, it's the heavy, guilty quiet that comes right after you finally draw a line in the sand. Robert leaned against that front door, his knees still aching from the previous weekend. Just aching. Down to the bone. You give them everything. Your youth, your patience, your bank account, and when you finally retire, you think, okay, now it's my time. But the footing never came. The emergencies, the just this once favors, they became an expected allowance, a permanent schedule. You know exactly what this feels like, don't you? You wake up on a Saturday morning, hoping to just drink your coffee in peace. Read the paper, maybe take a slow walk, and then the driveway gravel crunches. The car doors slam. There's always a preamble, a little bit of rushed small talk about how stressed they are, how they desperately need a break, a brunch, a spa day. And before you can even form the word no, they are pulling out of the driveway, leaving you with two screaming toddlers and a spine that feels like it's made of glass. It breaks you down. Listen, you love those grandchildren. You would step in front of a train for them. But love doesn't mean you have the physical stamina of a 30-year-old. You spend your entire weekend lifting, chasing, feeding, cleaning up spilled juice, and by Sunday night, you're running on fumes. Just absolute fumes. You reach for that generic ibuprofen like it's candy. And the hardest part? That unspoken weight. It settles right there in your heart. You feel the profound unfairness of parenting an adult who refuses to respect your physical limits. They assume you have an endless reservoir of energy simply because you've always fixed it, always stepped in. You're trading the ultimate piece of your golden years for their weekend convenience. It's exhausting. You lie awake, your joints throbbing, wondering when you became the default childcare option. When did your living room turn into a permanent daycare center? You bite your tongue because society whispers that good grandparents never complain. Good grandparents just smile and bake cookies. Right. As if your own life ended the day they had kids. You try to bring it up. You say, honey, I'm just so tired lately. And they just brush past it. Oh, Dad, you're fine. The kids keep you young. Keep you young. What a joke. It ages you in dog years. You're sacrificing the last good years of your life, these golden years we were promised. Sitting on the floor playing blocks when you can barely stand back up. You spend your days walking on eggshells, terrified that asserting your own humanity makes you a villain in their story. It wears you down to the marrow. You keep making excuses for them. They work so hard, you say. They're just protecting their peace. Fine. But what about your peace? You are cutting your losses in your own life to fund their social calendar. You're at the end of your rope, watching your remaining years slip through your fingers while you scrub crayon off the baseboards. Every time you bail them out, every time you take the kids because they can't handle their own weekend, you are quietly erasing a piece of your own future. You sacrifice your physical health to cushion their stress. It leaves you feeling hollowed out, unappreciated. You're living in a prison of expectations, terrified of making them angry, terrified of them withholding the grandchildren if you dare to set a boundary. The odds are never in our favor. And you're just standing there, holding an empty bottle of painkillers, realizing that if you don't say enough, no one else ever will. You're just tired, just fundamentally, undeniably tired. But here is the hard truth we have to face. Listen to me carefully. Epictetus, he was one of the great Stoic philosophers, lived a long time ago. He said we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. We are destroying our own bodies, trying to control something that is fundamentally out of our hands. You cannot control your adult child's schedule. You cannot control their lack of planning or their assumption that you will always catch them when they drop the ball. The odds are never in our favor. What you can control is your own front door. It is your own voice saying, gently but firmly, that the babysitting days are over. We confuse love with endless physical sacrifice. We think if we say no to taking the grandchildren, it makes us bad grandparents. It doesn't. Love doesn't require you to self-destruct. As long as you are shielding them from the reality of raising their own kids, you are stealing their opportunity to step up. You aren't rescuing them. You're enabling a cycle that is eventually going to put you in the hospital. Choosing yourself at this stage of life, it is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of profound wisdom. It is amor fati, loving your fate. And loving your fate means accepting that your active, hands-on parenting years are over. You have done your job. You raised yours. You paid your dues. Whether they struggle to balance work and kids or not, that is their burden to carry, not yours. It's water under the bridge. Your time is finite now. It belongs entirely to you. You look at your own hands, the hands that changed their diapers decades ago. Those hands deserve to rest now. You are allowed to be happy without being useful. Read that again in your mind. Your value is not tied to your utility as a free nanny. That is the ultimate freedom. You have earned the right to a quiet Saturday. You have earned the right to sit in a clean living room without stepping on a toy or reaching for the painkillers. Setting a boundary around your physical health is not a punishment for them. It's a shield for you. Let the guilt wash over you, acknowledge it, and then just let it go. You stop trying to manage their chaotic reality and start anchoring your own. It is time to draw the line, not out of anger, but out of a deep, necessary respect for your own remaining years. The next time you hear that car pull into the driveway, take a deep breath. Stand your ground. Remind yourself that saying no is an answer you can live with. Solitude is not a failure. It is the highest reward that a truly mature person deserves to enjoy. You've paid your dues. Now, it's time to collect your peace. What I share here are stories and perspectives, not professional advice. Just the hard-earned observations of someone walking the same road. Tell me one thing you kept for yourself today. Drop it in the comments below, and let's remind each other that a quiet, pain-free weekend is a blessing, not a selfish act.